Getting consistent and profitable sales with Google Ads so that you achieve months like these on my screen, or months like these right over here, or even overall years just like these right over here with the 8.67x ROAS and above, are not so hard to do, especially when you know exactly what you are doing. But unfortunately, for about 99% of e-commerce store owners who use Google Ads to market their store, this is not the case, and let me explain why. Majority of Shopify store owners are currently running an e-commerce website, which is just okay in terms of the overall design. It is getting sales. Maybe you're in the scaling phase, you're doing a lot of sales. However, a lot of these websites are missing some of the key fundamental things, which makes it extremely possible to do profitable and consistent sales every single day and every single month, so that you know exactly how much you are going to be doing in terms of revenue this month, and you can get a good idea of the profits before the month even ends. And if you're from Facebook ads, Pinterest ads, TikTok ads, you are used to more of the instabilities. I mean, that was one of the things I faced most often when I was mostly using Facebook ads for my Shopify stores, and also one of the reasons why I ended up leaving those platforms. But there's about just 3 different things which I'll be covering in this video, which you need to start focusing on just a little bit more if you too want to be achieving results like these. Now, before we actually dive deep into exactly what these 3 things are, let's go over some of the results that I'm getting for these stores. And all 3 of these are actually client stores, so clients under my Google Ads marketing agency, Yoru Marketing. More on that later. But going on to the first client store, which is this specific one right here. As you can see, since January 1st of this year, and I'm recording this current video on April 26th, this store has done roughly $127,927.42. And by no means is this an absolutely crazy, insane number. I mean, I've done more per month in terms of sales in a single month than this store has done in these months combined. But here's the amazing thing. When this store came to us personally, so under my agency again, Yoru Marketing, this store was doing a good amount in sales. So if we look at November and December, you can see that this store did about $64,000 in sales. But in terms of the profit margin, if you guessed 0% net profits, you would be absolutely right. Unfortunately, this Shopify store owner was listening to the Google Ads account manager, which Google Ads often gives to every single account running ads on their platform. And because these managers don't have any kind of real experience running their own Google Ads, running their own e-commerce stores, they just read from the book, meaning they just basically end up telling the store owner all of those things that can make Google Ads itself as a business more money. And some of these things include increasing bids, trying smart shopping, trying target ROAS, etc. And a lot of these things are good things. However, these things, if applied in the wrong time, can cost you a lot of money. And this is exactly what happened with this e-commerce store owner. Unfortunately, they were just relying on the credit card points to get those profits, until basically I came in and I kind of started to implement a lot of the strategies which I teach on my YouTube channel within my other videos. So from January 1st to April 26th, this store basically got an entire revamp in terms of the overall product pages, in terms of the advertising, etc. And that is the main reason why the store was able to do consistent sales every single day, but not only with consistency, but also with profitability. And best part of all, this store did end up growing over time. As you can see, it is currently in the growing phase because I'm currently scaling this e-commerce store. So this is exactly what you want to be achieving with your own e-commerce store. And if you're not at this level, if you're scaling but you're not really profitable, don't worry, because the things I'm about to mention in this video will get you to this level. And of course, at the end of the day, all you really want to achieve is this kind of consistency, where this dark green chart, there's very little days where you can actually see through, meaning you can actually see through to the white portion. You don't want that to happen. And if it doesn't happen as often, that means you're starting to get a lot of consistency, a lot of profitability in your overall revenue. Moving on to store number 2, this store has done about $27,000 so far this month. Not too amazing results, but again, if we look from January 1st until today, which is April 26th, we can see the same thing happening. So initially, this store was not doing too well after Q4, and in fact, this store was profitable, but at around a 5% to a 10% net profit ranges. Then I had to come in and I did end up changing a lot of things both on the product pages as well as the ads, and as you can see, the overall profitability and consistency started to appear more and more often. Of course, with Google Ads, it takes a bit more time. So if you're from Facebook, do expect your ads to take a bit more time to kind of gain some kind of momentum. Moving on now to the actual Google Ads dashboard to show you one of the main Shopify stores which I've been working with since July of 2021. As you can see, this Shopify store actually had a lot more consistency compared to the two recent ones I just went over. So far, this store did about 43,400 Canadian dollars in sales because the store owner lives in Canada, but the store runs in the US, for $376,000 in sales for a 8.67 ROAS. Again, a lot more consistency, a lot more profitability. And in fact, in the recent time periods, the lowest ROAS the store actually ended up getting was during this time, which is end of December, obviously at a 3.93. And these numbers are just dream numbers for people using Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and that too with consistency. Because if you look at this ROAS over time, it has been very, very consistent, well above a 5x ROAS. But exactly what did I do with these stores? Why was I able to achieve these kinds of results, and how can you personally do it so that no matter what niche you're in, no matter what price points your products are selling at, you too can achieve such results every single day. Now I'm gonna be jumping ahead a little quick in this video to explain to you exactly the 3 different things which kind of make all of these results possible, and that too with consistency and profitably. Number 1, the website. You cannot achieve these results without a good website, period. Number 2, the product itself. You can have the best website in the world, but if you have a bad product, it is not going to get you any kinds of results, period. And number 3, to kind of combine these two things, your ads. If you have an amazing website with the right products, you are about 75% of the way there, but the rest of the 25% comes from the actual ads, meaning what strategies you're using, are you reaching your right audience or not, do you have the right kind of ad copies, etc. So all of these 3 major things basically define the entire success of your Google Ads e-commerce store. Forget about everything else. Forget about having those pop-up banners coming up on your website. Forget about the back end. None of that really matters besides these 3 things, because you can have a sort of a decent job with the other things and still make a killing with e-commerce and still make a killing with Google Ads if you have these 3 things in place. So let's start off with the website. Exactly what kind of layout, what kind of product page should you be having in 2022 and onwards in order to find the best possible results with your Google Ads account and with your e-commerce store in general. So for the sake of this example, I'm gonna be using one specific e-commerce store which I consistently see ads for. One of my main examples I always show on every single video basically, and that is for 3D printers. So we're gonna be looking at this specific website which is called Toybox, and this is toybox.com. But this is exactly the kind of layout you need to be following for your e-commerce store, especially if you want to be focusing more on Google Ads. Exactly what is the overall generic layout that is going to bring you the maximum amount of ROAS. And before we actually dive deep into toybox.com and kind of decipher it, I'm going to be giving you the actual layout here step by step. So at the very top, you have your entire menu. So obviously, having a menu is extremely important because that just gives your store credibility, meaning people think that you are actually a real brand. And I mentioned menu because a lot of these one product page builders, such as ClickFunnels, Shogun, etc., give you the ability to kind of completely get rid of that menu. And I don't recommend that. I do recommend you do have a menu at the very top. So you of course want to have that menu. Below that menu, you should have your product title. So the product title, there is no exception. Just have a basic product title. It can be kind of like a branded product title or a search engine optimized title. It entirely depends on you. Either way, you want to make sure you have a search engine optimized title appearing for your Google shopping listings preferably. Number 2 thing you want to have right below the product title is your pricing. So again, no exceptions to pricing. It absolutely needs to be there, and preferably you want to have 2 prices. Number 1 price, the compare ad price, and number 2 price, the sale price. A lot of stores, especially the ones running on Google, apparently don't have these 2 prices. They just prefer to have one single price, and I do recommend some of your products to have just one price so it doesn't seem like everything is on sale. But I can't tell you how much beneficial it is to have these 2 pricings in place. But below that, preferably in 2022 and onwards, you should have some kind of installment payments text right below the pricing. Now, I'm gonna be going over exactly what I mean by this, but we're gonna move on to the next step, which is actually having the variation. So right here is when a person can go in and choose the specific type of variation they want, color, size, etc. Below that, you should have a CTA, meaning a call to action to add to cart or buy it now. You do not want to have two CTAs. You definitely want to be sticking to just one CTA. And this is something this example store does wrong, which we will be going over very shortly. But last two things are descriptions and review. Very simple, very straightforward. Let's move on to the actual example website right over here to kind of go over these things. So right now I'm looking at it on a desktop view. As you can see right at the very top, they have a menu, very straightforward menu, only 3 different things that you can click on. I don't recommend you just have 3 things you can click on. You should have more things such as tracking page, contact us page, preferably about us page, etc. But this store is definitely lacking in that. Moving on to the title, a very simple title, just a 3-word title, nothing too crazy. Below that, the pricing, they do have these 2 prices, so the compare at price and the sale price, which is again something I recommend. Now, this is what I was talking about when I say have some kind of text regarding installment payment. So it says pay in 4 interest-free installments of $74.75 with ShopPay. Now, you can use things like Klarna, ShopPay, etc. It doesn't really matter what you use, but having this kind of text, especially if your products cost more than $200, is extremely beneficial in 2022 and onwards, because if you look at some of the biggest brands out there, you will notice that they're offering some kind of installment payments. It's just a kind of a generic thing that has become available for about 99% of the e-commerce stores out there in 2022 and onwards. So don't miss out, because if you don't have this, then you are actually missing out on a lot of sales. I definitely recommend you do have this kind of installment payments option available. You don't even need to have this text here, as long as you actually have this installment pay option available in general. But below that, the variations followed by the actual CTA. So again, only one CTA. This store does it wrong. They have 2 CTAs. I don't recommend this. I recommend you only have 1 CTA, so as you don't end up confusing your potential customer. And below that, the description. At the very end, the reviews. Very simple, very straightforward. Nothing too crazy when it comes to the actual layout. But I want you to notice some of the most important things. So first things first, the titles. Obviously, with Google Ads, that's extremely important. You want to have a good title right over here on your product page, but when it comes to actually launching your products on Google Shopping listings, make sure your title is a bit different. It's a bit search engine optimized, like they do right over here. As you can see, their title is a bit bigger than what they have right over here on their product page. Obviously, this is done for search engine optimization purposes. I recommend you do the same thing right over here. But images, again, make sure you have high quality images. I made a bunch of videos on how you should choose the right product images. I have a whole Google Ads course describing the exact process I take on product image selection, title creation, etc. So I'm not really gonna go in depth into this, but for the description, now this is where kind of the layout changes, because before I used to recommend a specific kind of layout which was more on the lengthier side, but in 2022 and onwards, you don't necessarily need to have too big of a description. All you need to have is the following. You need to have 1 video within your description, 1 to 2 images within your description, and certain amount of words. So maybe 3 to 5 paragraphs, just like this store does right over here, describing the product, but also having enough search engine optimized keywords within the description, along with describing what's included exactly within the package that comes, specifications, etc., and something kind of to make you stand out. So as it says right over here, it says as seen on Shark Tank. Obviously, you want to be truthful. You don't want to just put up random images just because you want to stand out of the crowd. So don't say as seen on Shark Tank if your product was never shown on Shark Tank. But definitely have enough details so that your customers know, number 1, what the product is, number 2, what it does, number 3, why they should buy from you, and number 4, some kind of badges or whatever to make them trust you more. These 4 things are basically essentials when it comes to actually creating a product page that sells in 2022 and onwards. So you want to keep these things in mind when creating a product page for Google Ads specifically. There's nothing else that you should be doing. Again, watch some of my other videos if you want to know more about the intricate details as to how this should be done. But keep toybox.com in mind. And this brings me to point number 2 of this video, which is the actual product. Exactly what is it that I'm doing differently that's allowing me and my products to sell every single day like clockwork, profitably and consistently. So it's not like I'm doing this with just one e-commerce store, and that too just within 1 month in a given year. I'm doing this consistently month over month, year over year, with multiple different e-commerce stores, and that has a lot to do with the products. Now, when it comes to the products, I'm going to be giving you some specific criteria, not really going into details as to how to find these products. Number one criteria you want to keep in mind when deciding what product to sell with Google Ads is the average monthly keyword search volume. Obviously, keyword search volume is extremely important if you want to be running Google Ads for your e-commerce brand. Doesn't matter if you have already been doing $1 million and above with Facebook or TikTok or whatever. If there is not enough people searching on Google Ads for that product, it's just not going to sell with Google Ads, period. So number one criteria, 25 to 30,000 average monthly searches or more. Previously, in 2020, 2021, etc., I used to recommend about 20,000 average monthly searches. Now in 2022 and onwards, I'm recommending 25K to 30K or more. And the more you have, the better. And that's simply because competition is increasing, prices are increasing. There's a lot of demand for a lot of these products, but unfortunately, there's a lot of other people who are now in the market selling that same exact product which you want to sell. So you want to be going in and just finding those products which have bigger search volumes in general right from the beginning, so that you don't end up kind of fishing in a small pond, because you would rather be fishing in a very big pond, because that just increases your chances of getting bigger fish and also just getting fish in general. Obviously, because with a smaller pond, if there's a bunch of people fishing in that same exact small pond, there's a very good chance a lot of these other people have already gotten majority of the fish, and there's very little for you to get. So you want to go in, find those bigger monthly search volumes and get those products, which brings me to thing number two regarding product research, and that is the competition. Obviously, you want to have as little competitors as possible, regardless of what the average monthly search volume is. But a key rule to keep in mind is no more than 6 to 7 competitors in general, because if you have more than 6 to 7 competitors for any given product, what's going to happen is you guys are going to end up competing with each other, and you're going to end up starting price wars. And I always recommend to never start price wars, because at the end of the day, that just ends up killing the product. So no more than 6 to 7 competitors. That is what I'm seeing from all of these Shopify stores I'm running, both under my agency Euro Marketing and also my own e-commerce store. Just having 6 to 7 competitors is basically at the maximum level. Anything more and you just don't want to sell that product, because at that time the product is already pretty much saturated. The market is most likely already saturated, unless you're entering the market with a completely different product, meaning a completely different product image, style, product type, etc. So if you're not doing any of those things, just stick to 6 to 7 competitors, no more, but definitely less the better. So that's something you want to be keeping in mind, which brings me to the final point of products, which is profit margins. Normally, I used to recommend about $25 to $30 profit margins. Now in 2022 and onwards, I recommend $35 to $40 and above. And in fact, if you can keep it at $100 profit margins and above, that's going to be the best case scenario, because you want to leave ample amount of room to, number one, pay your Google Ads fees and any of your other marketing fees. Number two, pay for your Shopify store, your Shopify apps, etc. Number three, pay yourself, because obviously you want to pay yourself from your business profits. And number four, pay your profits to your employees as well, because obviously you want to scale your brand to big levels. You don't want to just be doing this all on your own. So to keep these four things accounted for, you want to be making sure you have enough profits. And obviously $25, even $30 is not good enough in 2022 and onwards. So keep it at $35, $40, the higher the better. But these things, if you follow with your ideal product research methods, and again, you can watch a lot of my other videos. If you want a brand new video on product research, let me know down in the comment section below. But regardless of whether you're running an actual e-commerce brand, regardless of whether you're drop shipping, these things you want to be keeping in mind when it comes to these products, which brings me to the final point, which is actually running the ads. Exactly what should you be doing when it comes to actually running these ads? So now I'm going to be taking you over to my actual Google Ads account for all of these basically brands to show you exactly what I'm relying most on. So this specific brand right over here, which was the last brand I showed you towards the beginning of this video, which I've been working with since 2021 of July. As you can see right over here, we have several different shopping campaigns running, specifically around 10 different campaigns. And if we look, about 8 of these campaigns are shopping campaigns, 2 are search campaigns. And I'm going to highlight all of these shopping campaigns right over here and just get rid of those that are search. So here we can see the overall ROAS that we're getting with these shopping campaigns. As you can see, 13x ROAS, 3x ROAS, 8x ROAS. Absolutely insane results, and just results that a lot of e-commerce store owners can dream of. And right now I'm looking at all time, so these are the results I've been getting since July for this e-commerce brand. But here's what you want to keep in mind. All of these, besides one, are smart shopping campaigns, and I'm gonna take out that specific one, which is a standard shopping campaign, and then is this one right here with basically lowest ROAS. And there's a reason why I showed you this. What I want you to see from this is just the power of smart shopping campaigns and the reason why you should be using smart shopping campaigns if you haven't already. And also one of the main reasons why I just basically implement smart shopping campaigns for any new brand I take on under my agency, Euro Marketing, which if you're doing $30,000 a month in sales and you want to scale further with Google Ads specifically, but you want help doing this, go onto my website at euromarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how I can help you scale to these next levels. But regardless of what store it is, regardless of what niche it's in, I'm implementing a lot of smart shopping, and there's 2 major benefits. Number one, it's just smarter. It's just getting you better results, not only just with one e-commerce brand, but across a lot of other e-commerce brands. But also number 2, I only check these campaigns once or twice a week. That's it. I don't check these too often, and that's just because smart campaigns equals automation. Google Ads is handling a lot of the things within a smart shopping campaign, such as keywords, bidding, etc., and it just makes your life as an advertiser easier. Whereas with the standard shopping, you have to go in, you have to do a lot of manual work. Sometimes you're not really that smart like me, and you might end up making a lot of mistakes and have an overall low ROAS. So here, if we had just relied on standard shopping, you can see the ROAS would have been on the lower end, which is a 3.79. It's still a good ROAS, but on the lower end compared to these other ROASs we have achieved. So that's why smart shopping is basically the way to go. Moving on to the next account, and this account right over here, we're looking at the data for February 15, 2022 to April 26, 2022. So far, the ROAS has been a 2.38, and the break-even ROAS for this brand is a 1.5. But again, we see the same things. Majority of these campaigns right over here, and again, majority of these are shopping campaigns, but within that majority, almost all of these are smart shopping campaigns. And again, we are seeing that the overall ROAS is pretty decent for these campaigns. This is a fashion brand, so they are more on the lower end because there's a lot of data that a fashion brand has to go through. But smart shopping campaigns I'm heavily relying on because they're smart. It just makes my whole life easier and I can scale much faster. But also the computer, meaning Google's algorithm, is often much smarter than me. It can make a lot of more correct decisions than an average e-commerce store owner can. And again, moving on to the third store, which I showed you earlier, which is this specific one right here. We're looking at February 15 to April 26. This store has achieved during this time period a 2.72 ROAS. Looking at only the campaigns we're running, it's a 3.40 ROAS. Again, heavy reliance on shopping campaigns, but also smart shopping. Only about 1 or 2 standard shopping, just because I like to throw those in. So as you can see, with all of these stores, I'm almost always doing smart shopping, and there's various reasons why I decide to go the smart shopping route. So don't just think that because I'm recommending smart shopping, because I'm relying heavily on smart shopping, you should stop every single campaign on your only Google Ads account and just start smart. That's not really how it works. There's a lot of details that are involved with this, because first things first, these stores are already in the scaling phase. That's why smart works much better for them. But in the beginning, if this was a brand new account, I would definitely need to start with standard shopping, because again, smart shopping is more Google Ads algorithm reliant. It needs machine learning information in order to provide results. So if it has no info to work off of, it's just not gonna work, period. But that's essentially how Google Ads works. That's essentially why I'm able to get these kinds of results day in and day out, month in and month out. But again, if you're doing $30,000 or more in monthly sales, you wanna kind of take it to the next level with Google Ads. Again, go onto my website and book a free call with me, and even get a free strategy report directly from me, where it talks about exactly how you can improve your ads, how you can improve your business, etc. My website is euromarketing.com. But if you found any type of value in this video, do me just a small favor and destroy the like button down below and destroy that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video.